Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, is AEW about to announce even more shows?
Huge blood and guts reveals on AEW Dynamite.
We'll tell you what AEW really thinks of Collision.
And Seth Rollins on his Consolation Prize World title. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Let's kick things off by talking about AEW potentially expanding its pay-per-view schedule, which may come as part of a new rights deal with Warner Bros. Discovery. Now, we spoke about this Warner Bros. AEW negotiations situation yesterday, Fightful Select, with the report stating that the two parties have been in talks over an extension and a big increase in money for a while now, and that an announcement may be forthcoming in like summer or fall or something like that. AEW at the moment earns $45 million a year. They're going to get a lot more than that because Dynamite's always in the top 10 and Collision's been in the top 5 for like 3 out of its 4 weeks so far. So they're going to get loads more money.
Yep.
That's how it works. As part of this, however, Fightful are now reporting that Warner have actually, they like the idea of doing more pay-per-views, maybe even monthly. More shows every day.
It's good for us.
Yep, really good for the content. Warner have proposed this move. They've indicated that there might be a significant expansion and that this is very likely possible. So there you go. A very likely possibility. Sorry, very likely possible. That's a weird way of saying things. AEW might even move to that monthly model that WWE kind of does.
Could be worse than remember that did that fortnightly model. Jesus Christ.
That
nearly killed us.
Yeah, it killed me. Very, like, a part of me, for sure. There's no word on whether or not this would be like a standalone gimmick or if it would be folded into like a max streaming package or something. But, you know, the agreement is yet to be finalized. But expanding the pay-per-view schedule is at the discussion stage. So in 2023, they're going to have, 6? They've got the core 4 and then Forbidden Door, obviously, and All In. They started off doing 4 a year.
They do the TV specials, obviously, with the Fighter Fest and what have you.
I wonder if maybe they would look to turn like Blood and Guts into a pay-per-view. Maybe, I mean, yeah.
Question for you: we don't know anything about this, so it's pure speculation on your behalf. But I saw people panicking about this. I'm like, you know, they're not going to be able to tell longer-term stories because they'll be like, quick, we've got a pay-per-view in 3 weeks or whatever. Would they perhaps do a sort of alternating thing where maybe more storylines from Collision are on one pay-per-view and one... I don't know, what do you reckon?
I think that wouldn't really work, I don't think, because it's not a hard brand
it's not Raw and SmackDown, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So that would be more difficult. It will unquestionably alter like the storytelling mechanics in that company, and it will make all our, you know, like... discussions on oversaturation and content bloat come more to the forefront. But if they did launch this model and, you know, their buys are still good and their attendances are within whatever their acceptable level is and their gates are still doing good, it'll be justified. Me personally, I kind of like the current model. I like having one every couple of months because it feels like more of an occasion. And also the thing with AEW pay-per-views is they are quite long, but I think that the length of them is justified because there's not as many of them at the moment. So if you're talking like 4 or 5 hours once every 2 months, hell yeah. If you're going down to a monthly model, maybe you need to bring that down just a little bit. So we'll see what happens. It's not necessarily something I would be like massively, hugely excited for or whatever, but in this new landscape where I think that we have way too much cynicism everywhere about every single idea, I would 100% give it a chance, and it'll be good for the channel.
Yeah, exactly. But I will tell you that my sources, you know, I've got my little birds out there. They've told me, you know, AEW synonymous with big gets from WWE. I'm talking your Bryan Danielsons, your Sarayas, your Adam Coles, etc. We put this up there as a bit of a joke. They're not going to do December Dismember. They have apparently acquired the rights to Fatal 4-Way, though. So keep your eyes out for that. Let us know which WWE pay-per-views, premium live events you'd like to see AEW do, or just your general thoughts on this in the comments section below.
Maybe they could bring back Heroes of Wrestling. Why not?
Or Stomping Grounds, where the poster featured someone whose main move is a fist. Brilliant. You have a guy who literally does the stomp, but okay.
Punching Grounds.
Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Blood and Guts. It obviously goes down next Wednesday on Dynamite, and last night, as promised, there was the reveals of the 5th members of both teams. One we guessed, one was a complete swerve, which I was genuinely really excited about. Because Kota Ibushi, no real surprise there. Kenny Omega was talking about going over to Japan and getting someone that they know and trust and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he's going to reform the Golden Elite with Omega, the Bucks, and Hangman Page to take on the BCC, Konosuke Takeshita, and not Chris Jericho. He's still considering that offer from Don Cal to join the family. And Jake Hager gave up his hat last night. Instead, it is Pac, which is a phenomenal addition to Blood and Guts and makes storyline sense, Andy Murray. It was revealed as Kenny Omega was... Well, Don Callis came out. Kenny Omega came out to try and murder him, obviously, because of what happened. Then he got jumped by the BCC and Pac, who revealed... Do I do the accent? I'm not going to for once, because Adam Nicholas is a Geordie.
There you go.
Can't help myself sometimes. He said, peace, pudding. I'm in the bloody team, like. You Mackham, you. He's actually Kenny Omega, Sunderland fan. Yeah, that's the revelation right there.
Exclusively revealed. That complicates Michael Sidgwick's life a little bit, doesn't it?
God, he does it. Can you imagine?
Right.
And then just as they were about to crush Kenny Omega's larynx with a chair around his throat and Pac was going to come off the top rope and what have you, Kenny Omega went, have a look at the screen. And it was revealed Kota Ibushi is the 5th member of the Elites team, and they came in and saved Kenny Omega from imminent death.
Yeah, this was really good. I mean, I don't think they could have picked a more exciting set of partners for me personally. I did expect it to be Chris Jericho after the Don Callis teases, but in this scenario, that was a bit of a red herring, so well done. That's good. Ibushi in the Elite, that's perfect. It's a perfect scenario. The Golden Lovers, lengthy history. The Golden Elite has been a thing in the past. He's associated with all these men in some different way over the years. It's absolutely flawless. And the Pac thing as well. Prior rivalry with Kenny, and then there's just the base level of excitement because he's great and he hasn't wrestled for AEW in 6 months.
Yeah, January last wrestled, I believe.
Yeah. He's been injured. Me and Phil saw him at a rap concert in March, which was random. His What Password, a hoodie. We're like, that was Pac. We didn't bother him, obviously, because he's a very private man, and I wouldn't want to annoy the bastard. Ooh. But yeah, I'm very excited. I think this rules ass.
Good replacement for Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, really, really good. The match should be pretty damn great. So, fired up.
Blood and Guts has been in my opinion, but I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, should be a decent one. And you know what else is decent? These videos, so get subscribing. Click the button, ring the bell.
If you want to be the 5th member of subscribers, I think hopefully we've got more than that.
Subscriber club. Yeah. Join our gang. I don't know.
And ring the bell, ding ding. To get those notifications.
All right, let's move over to what AEW really thinks about Collision so far.
It sucks. No, they
imagine.
They hate it. It's getting cancelled.
This is Tony Schiavone talking about the situation on his What Happened When podcast with Conrad Thompson. Do you want to do the gimmick?
It's one of the best ones out there. That's not ours. WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from.
There you go. And he kind of put the show over a little bit. He shouted out the commentators in the show just what AEW's vibe with this show is in general. I'll read the quotes. I'm telling you, Collision is a good show. It's a great show. We've got a great announced team of Kevin Kelly and Nigel. I'm thoroughly enjoying it from top to bottom, and I'm glad I'm around for it. I'm doing both shows, and I originally was just going to produce backstage, but there were some live interviews they wanted me to do, so I do them. But basically, I'm just backstage producing. We talked about it on a conference call this week that we had... Sorry, I've lost this sentence.
No, I'm not giggling because...
You were doing a Gene Okerlund over here.
Because he's like, I'm just mainly backstage, and I thought, well, other than when you're getting bullied by the Bing Bing gang, generally.
Every single week. We talked about it in a conference call this week that we had about how much we are all enjoying Collision and doing it. So that's nice to hear. That everything's going pretty well so far. Obviously, it's only 4 episodes old, right? Collision. This is going to be the 4 out of 5 weeks that have featured CM Punk in the headlining slot.
Good.
He's back on the scene. Bryan Danielson's doing a bit of creative for it, we know from reports. I really like the show. I think so far, maybe it could use an extra firework or two. Maybe it could use those big explosive moments that you get on the best episode of Dynamite. However, I like the wrestling style a little bit more.
Nice change of pace, isn't it?
Yeah, so far it's been a bit more measured, a bit slower. It's a nice show to just relax to on a Sunday morning for me, man.
Yeah, same here. Like, I watch it, obviously, because we review it on a Monday on our podcast, me and Sidge. And much preferable, despite the fact it's an hour longer, to watch an AEW Rampage, in my opinion. I think it's a breath of fresh air for AEW. I love the fact that certain talents are getting the opportunity to showcase their skills, not just Punk on there. Commentary. Kevin Nige, I really like as a team. It's just I just like the fact that they haven't just gone, let's do effectively Dynamite 2.0 and do the exact same thing but on a Saturday. Look, I couldn't give a toss about ratings. Yeah. You know me. Aside from winding up Sage, obviously.
I think if you let ratings affect your enjoyment of the product, that's really weird.
Yeah.
That's strange. And I think, like, if people want to invest in them, that's fair enough. It's literally the most important metric.
Yes.
People will tell you that they don't matter in 2023. Complete nonsense. If it wasn't for TV money, these companies wouldn't be operating anywhere near the level.
But people are looking at the wrong number, aren't they?
Oh, they look at the wrong stuff all the time. Like, one slight variance. You know, I went down a 0.1 this week. Oh, it's a disaster. And it's like, okay, where did they rank? How did the competition do? There's a lot of bad analysis of ratings out there that I think drives a lot of people away. And Brandon Thurston's mentions are a dumpster fire. Never look at them.
Oh God, yeah. But yeah, I like Collision. If you haven't given it a chance, why not watch it this week? The Owen Hart Cup finals going down on there. I think it's going to be an absolute ripper of a show.
We've got the Bing Bing Gang versus FTR.
Oh yeah, 2 out of 3 falls and belts, where no belts ever change hands.
I can't wait for Luchasaurus to retain his title.
7 Battle of the Belts. This will be the 7th.
Yeah.
There has been 1 title change over the previous 6 and 1 interim TNT championship that was just up for grabs because neither person had it. So I wouldn't hold your breath on many title changes. Sorry, Sean Spears.
It's just an extra hour.
2 out of 3 falls. FTR versus Bang Bang Gang. Genuine contender for match of the year for me. I loved their match on Collision last week, as you did.
It was really good.
Right, let's talking of titles. Let's move on and talk about Seth Rollins. He's the World Heavyweight Champion, which many people consider a bit of a consolation prize. But he's had his say on that when chatting to Ryan Satin.
This is a long one.
Yes. I'll read what he says. You can't just come in and pretend that all of a sudden this title is that important. No one's going to buy that crap. The way I always saw champions, the way I looked up to them and I aspired to be the champions, was that they took the title to every territory or every town and defended it, and then over time people believed that it was a big deal. I came in when Cena was a world champion and CM Punk was a world champion. I grew up watching Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, Triple H. These are the people who did that for the world titles that they were wearing. So I'm trying, as I might, to kind of fill those shoes and make this new World Heavyweight Championship as big as it can be for myself and for the rest of the roster. He continued basically talking about how Roman's reduced schedule means there's a void. If he was doing what he was doing, then obviously you wouldn't need a world champion. If he was doing what Seth was talking about there, they wouldn't need it. But he's effectively filling the void of a world champion. And when it comes to it being a consolation prize, Seth says, look, it makes sense to say that, but it didn't feel that way for me. It felt like a big deal because there are so many guys who are able to be in the shoes that I'm in right now. And the fact that it's me makes me feel like a big deal to me. Feel a lot of responsibility to represent them and the industry as well as I can. It feels sometimes with Roman's title reign, because there's really only one challenger at a time, and often every few months, that we are in a bit of a holding pan. I think this is a good justification for this title. Obviously, he mentioned about how much equity has been put into Roman's prize, and then they just sort of went, and here's another championship.
Here's another one.
But yeah, for the time being, I mean, the sensible decision would have been to put the titles on Cody and have him surrender one of them the night after WrestleMania. But in this alternative version of events, I'm good with it. And if it means, you and I could already sit in here in, what month is it? July.
Yes.
And are looking, going, okay, Roman's going to fight Cody at WrestleMania. But on the other side of things, oh my God, we could get Seth versus Gunther, or Seth versus LA Knight, or, who knows? The fact that we are already pitching that means we're not just like, it's basically just a snazzed up the US title that they tried to build up for a while.
Yeah. I mean, everything that Seth says here is bang on. I do not disagree with a single word. In fact, I think it's a really balanced and fair and just right on the money appraisal of the situation. He's dead right on every single count. It was inevitable that when they brought in a title opposite to the most decorated champion of the modern era, who has held the belt for like 3 years almost, it was absolutely inevitable that no matter what they did, it was going to feel like 1B to the 1A.
Yes.
They could not get away from that. Now that Seth has the belt and he's here a lot and he's doing cool feuds and he's over and he's popular and he's having good matches, now is the task of raising it up and dispelling that view. So he's taking the right mindset by going, it's a big deal to me and it's going to be a big deal for these reasons. He's dead right.
Plus, it wouldn't work with Roman. As much as I bitched and moaned when Brock Lesnar was the champion, he'd just go, right, see you in 3 months. It wouldn't make sense. Like, if you said, oh my God, the next show that they're doing, I know Roman's defending against Jey Uso next, but, Roman's defending against Otis because he's just won a number one contenders battle royal. You'd be like, well, that's a pointless world championship match. He's obviously going to retain there. I know a lot of championship matches you were going, Roman's going to retain, but that'd be even more so if it was every bloody month. Whereas with Seth, you're like, don't know, they could hot potato the title. Who knows what's going to happen?
Approaches.
Priest's got someone that he could legitimately cash in on now rather than just like Austin Theory going,
getting punched in the face by Tyson Fury.
Or eventually cashing in for a championship he could have just fought for in the Open Challenge that was happening every week. Moving on, Twitter questions. At WhatCulture, WWE, of course, you want to get in touch with us. Always also taken from our YouTube community page, another reason to subscribe. Daniel Murphy starts off. Cheers, Dan, for this question. Dan says, good morning to the two news dudes with attitudes.
Okay, respect.
Would you have MJF and Adam Cole win the tag titles? They won, spoilers, they won the semi-final last night, of course. Win the tag titles and serve up a crazy twist. Have MJF go face and Adam Cole turn on him and go heel. That would be wild. Enjoy your day. Dan, enjoy yours too.
I would do the complete opposite.
Yes.
I think they have to lose in the not necessarily in the tournament finals. But if they make it through the final, they need to lose to FTR or Bang Bang Gang, whoever has the belts. Especially if it's FTR, because for me, that would feed into the whole, like, an established tag team 90% of the time should beat a super team of thrown together dudes who don't really get along or whatever, or who have just suddenly arrived. And I'm aware that the Bang Bang Gang are a pretty new unit as well, but they're actually a tag team. So for me, that should be the route. And then they should split, and Cole should be the face, and MJF should be the heel. I forgot the world champion. Idiot. But Cole is, we haven't yet had a high level Adam Cole babyface top level run, and we're getting that now, and he's extremely over, so I don't see any need to mess with that. Also, MJF is like a god tier heel.
Yeah,
so.
he was a babyface who was literally 1 second away from winning the Eliminator to get a title match, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and also, like, MJF would do a good job as a babyface, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
He's shown that in flashes.
I mean, he's a babyface in my eyes, but yeah.
Tranquilo.
Right, a couple of questions about world title things now, considering our story today. RP Geist says, which is more relevant for fans, the amount of title reigns or the length? Comparing types like Ric Flair with many reigns or Roman with a very long one, does it even really matter?
I think it's situational. I think people see through it when it's just a padded number, right? So like with Charlotte would be a good example.
She's lost that title 14 times.
Yeah, this is it. But like even in Ric Flair's length, he's got, obviously Charlotte's dad has lots of reigns, but a lot of them were very substantial and very great. Like mid-80s in Crockett and stuff when he was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, like legendary stuff. And I think it's totally situational, and it depends on how these reigns have come about. If you are just transparently putting a belt on someone for 20 days just so they can get that number up, that doesn't really mean a whole lot. And Roman's 1,000 days means a lot more than Charlotte's 15 reigns or whatever, for example. But yeah, it's entirely situational. For me, I think that cumulative days is more important than total reigns, but maybe some people are the opposite.
Yeah, as my wife's always telling me, length matters. And I prefer someone to hold the title for a long time. Doesn't have to be as many as 1,000 days or whatever. But like, just to talk about another sport, UFC, it was ground-shaking, world-ending news when people like Jose Aldo and Anderson Silva lost their titles, or Ronda Rousey, or whoever it may be. Maybe that's slightly different because it was more sort of title defenses than length of time. But yeah, if they'd have been like win, loss, win title back, lose it again. I much prefer, length of time. But also, you'd also want, if you want to say, this is one of the greatest world championships of all time, you feel like they kind of have to have multiple reigns to justify it as over the longevity of their career. But let us know your thoughts in the comments. Jack Rose has given us our final question of the day. Once the Bloodline story concludes, how long will we have to wait for the next big long-term story? And what could it be with the wrestlers there now as she leads in WWE?
I have absolutely no idea.
It's kind of like they've put so much time and effort into this.
Yeah.
You can... The video package heading into WrestleMania 40 is going to be epic for Roman Reigns. Yes. Maybe that'll just be night one of WrestleMania. But I feel like the next big long-term story is going to be not by a group, by the way, but the corruption of Cody Rhodes. Like he's slowly, like long term, he's going to be a heel.
The Codyverse is coming at some point.
Yeah,
and people need to get ready for it. I'm here for the chaos.
But like I say that, it's not going to be at WrestleMania Backlash where he suddenly decides, oh, I'm going to lose my title, punch you in the bollocks.
Yeah, it's not going to be something like that. Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. Like, he becomes a babyface world champion, and he's fighting all these battles, and he has these defenses, and his body's breaking down, and he's hurting, and he's resorting to more desperate measures, and the Codyverse is coming out, and suddenly...
Kids aren't being grateful enough for his weight belt or whatever.
Like, he's coming down the ring with that stuff on his back. You know, fireballs are coming when that happens.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good shout. That could play out over several years as well.
But yeah, it's very rare WWE does long-term storytelling, and certainly as well as they have done with the Bloodline story. But I hope that this will be inspiration for everyone not named Vince McMahon to do more of this sort of thing. Yeah. But they've certainly got the performers there that they could do it with. I mean, you know, your LA Knights, your Gunthers, all these people who are primed for big world title reigns or challenges or stories. They're in a good position right now.
You know that time back in the battle days when Roman Reigns cut that promo about Jack and the Beanstalk, and like little old Roman climbing the Beanstalk to slay the giant. It was like a feud with a Big Show. What if they took another like fairy tale kind of story classic, right? What if they did like a Wizard of Oz storyline where Ryback tries to find a functioning brain? That would take a long ass time, and I'd be here for it.
Is that the second time you've gone after Ryback today? Because you did a tweet about it.
Yeah, I mean, he's addressed us with slurs before, so I feel like we can bury him whenever we want.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not here defending that guy. Although it is fun to watch him eating crisps on the internet. I will say that.
I will watch any person eat crisps on the internet,
enough.
to be fair, because I want to be the person eating the crisps.
Yeah, fair. Right, let us know your thoughts on everything, as we said, in the comments. Check out this video, and we'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then.